I have the honor of moderating this today, and so I'll be monitoring the chat as well. So your question will not get lost. Of course, if you want, feel free to, unmute yourself, maybe even turn on your camera and ask the question as you want. But at the same time, we have all been through this. We all know that, especially in studying for the CFA, let's just say that might not be the period in your life where you look the best always. So I fully understand if you stay off camera, no problem at all. So absolutely. Hello and welcome to today's webinar. I'll introduce myself and then I'll let the panelists introduce themselves. Today, as I said before, today is all about you and the opportunity to get some perspectives from people that have gone through CFA level 3 and that, have successfully gone through CFA level 3. We're going to share some strategies that worked, strategies that maybe didn't work. And of course, we're going to address the dreaded constructive response questions. So my name is Julian Vogel. I'm also a small housekeeping item. It would be great if you could stay muted unless you are having a question. Otherwise, everything else we're gonna work out as we go through. So yeah, my name is Julian Vogel, and I am a finance professor at San Jose State University. And I got my CFA charter after I did my PhD because I wanted to learn more about the wonderful world of finance. I wouldn't necessarily change that for the world, but I can also tell you that the CFA charter was arguably harder, but much, much fairer than the PhD, a question which I get a lot. So, and like I said, it's my very good honor to moderate today's session. Why don't we start out with Michaela?
Sure. So welcome, everyone. My name is Michaela. My experience is across trading, clearing, and post-trade infrastructure at the Deutsche Börse Group. I spent there over 9 years. It was really from since I started my master, and being really in the middle of the marketplaces for different assets. I wanted to challenge myself with CFA to be able to understand the other side. So all the institutional investors and etc. It was a very difficult challenge, but I'm very happy I did it. I saw how much discipline one can have when being persistent. So yeah, I wouldn't change that for nothing.
Thank you very much. Over to you, Wetzal.
Hello, everyone. First of all, thanks, Professor, and the CFA Society for organizing this and inviting me to guide students here. So yeah, I cleared my level 3 last year in 2025, and my journey was I started CFA because I didn't have a formal education in finance. My undergrad is in engineering. And I started my CFA before I started my master's program here in the US. Currently, I'm working for a family office as a finance manager, and I work with the corporate finance teams as well as the investment teams as well, analyzing different kind of investments, both in public and private markets, and also looking at the corporate finance functions, the internal finance functions of the family office. And yeah, it's happy to be here.
We're happy to have you. So it probably would be a good idea to start to, you both kind of touched on this, to outline like I would argue your CFA path and kind of in what situation in what kind of life situation did you do CFA level 3? But before we do that, we're going to allow Mo to introduce himself as well.
Hi, I'm Mo Fala. I'm an assistant professor of finance at Fresno State. Glad to be here.
All right, glad to have you. So yeah, in what kind of situation found you your CFA level 3? How was your experience? Like, did you go through your level 1 and level 2 right away, or did you take a pause? Did you then pause to level 3? So yeah, why don't we start with what's all that now?
Sure. So I took my level three when I was working full time here at the same family office, and I there was a large gap between my level two and level three because of COVID, and then I started my master's program. So there was a big gap between level two and level three, and I would say. Uh, Level three was more of like a different kind of a monster in these exams where you don't have to just check uh, you don't have to check just one multiple choice question, but you have to actually identify, determine the problem, and justify your answer. So that took a lot of efforts and a lot of understanding of those concepts, and it was a good juggle between working full time and also studying. And yep, happy to answer how throughout this course of the seminar. Uh,
Perfect. Thank you so much. How about you, Michaela?
Yes, so I started my CFA one. I don't remember the year, but it was. Uh, I know that I was going one after the other. There was a small gap for COVID. Obviously, I guess all of us were caught for that. I was trying really just that I don't lose the knowledge from the previous exam to go directly to another. To be honest, not always the right decision just to jump from one to another, because yes, like it's not nice to 2 years only study. You want also some life, but I guess we come maybe later to that. Yes, and since obviously like it takes over like some years to complete it, like the things are changing in your life. So it was actually very interesting for me, because every level I was doing in a different country, on a different position in the company. So I would have to every time adjust a bit also my routine with the studying. So, yeah.
All right, thank you. Mo.
For me, it was a big gap. So it was around 8 or 9 years. So I was working, and then I decided to do my PhD. So then I thought like I'm not gonna need CFA level three. Then changed my mind, but like I was busy during my PhD program, so it took several years. But I'm happy I did it.
All right, perfect. So then I guess let's dive right in. What strategies worked for you in your preparation? Is there anything that you would like, would have appreciated if you would have known previously in terms of, oh, absolutely do this every day, every morning, every week, whatever. If you could talk to your younger self, what would that be? Let's start with Mo this time.
Um, For me, I keep reminding myself that you know it's not about perfection. You don't need to get the highest score possible. You just need to pass this test. So this strategy kind of like helped me because it was I did it during a time that I was having my second boy, and we were super busy with stuff. So like I was very in a heavy time crunch, and so I didn't have much time to study. But like basically, um, I'm kind of a person. Everything has to be perfect, so I sit and study in a quiet room. So this time I completely did it the opposite way. Whenever I get a chance, I studied like between my 2 months old um, naps, or like even when I was doing like let's say any chores at home, I was listening to this like third party thing that I bought for preparation. And I guess level three, you're probably doing it at the time that you're very busy. So for me, what work is like I need to pass this level. I'm just gonna try, and then so that's really work. And the strategy that keeps work for me for all three levels is that like two last weeks, the final weeks are very important. So the final review is super important. I think I went over the sample exams twice. Level 3, maybe level 1 and 2 sample exams are kind of like, I should not say. So like maybe level 3 is still like sample exams are very helpful in terms of you can practice what kind of verbs you're going to see, and so like get used to like answering those writing questions, even if you're not writing it out. Like, okay, what should I expect? So that's me personally.
Thank you so much. How about and don't let always just me call you. Just let's make this more informal.
Okay, yeah, let me jump in because when talking about the strategy, I can say I had too many maybe. So sometimes less is better and to focus on that. So I would do different things from when it comes to going through curriculum, for example. I think there is like well-known this thing, it's called Pomodoro review cycle, so that you are studying in sprints. And like, let's say 30 minutes, then you review and break, and then again. So for example, this I found out like, no, I cannot keep that. I always need to finish the topic, and sometimes it's longer, sometimes shorter. um, uh, and But what really helped me is actually to realize that really level 3 is very different from the level 2, and that it's not anymore about like memorizing about the knowledge, but actually about being able to express that you understand the concepts, and to be able to, under the pressure, to be clear, right? Like really with these essay, even though it's called essay, maybe it's also key to realize that it's not essay. It's really just clearly putting the bullet points, and I think these help the most, like doing over and over again the mock exams, focusing on these essay questions. So timing myself, like really creating this simulated environment with the time of the exam that I would have, and also like the time, like the minutes that are needed for the particular set, and then going back, reviewing the mistake, because of course it's with every with majority of the things is quality is over quantity. So it's not only like doing many mock exams, but actually being able to review what you did wrong, being it time wise or mistakes that you did, or something that you actually didn't understand, and so on. So for me, really the mock exams were the key.
So yeah, I'll be picking back off Michaela and Mo. So yeah, it was first that the curriculum is huge, and while working full time, it can be difficult to like revise the whole curriculum 3 times. So that the main goal would be to get the foundation right of all the concepts, and uh, making sure that you're getting the actual concept right rather than actually uh, memorizing things, and rather than just focusing on the actual concept. That would be really helpful. I used third-party notes and videos to go through the curriculum, and that there were also some notes and videos which would give you a concept in a very simple, straight language. And if you think like certain texts look very ancient to you and you can't understand, certain providers can help you with just directly giving you the points in a very straightforward manner, and actually explaining all the layers behind that concept. And again, as mentioned before, practice a lot, because that's where you'll actually learn. And don't be afraid of getting things wrong, because that's what you want. You want things to go wrong so that you can learn. And on aside from the studies, like, listen to what your brain and body says. If you're an evening person, don't push yourself to be a morning person, and time your meals correctly. Don't eat pasta before studying, because then that would. So yeah, I would suggest to, like, time things strategically, and uh, refresh your mind. Stick to easy concepts on a tough day. Stick to difficult concepts on a Saturday morning or a Saturday afternoon, if that's what you like. And hopefully that should help.
All right. Did you do anything, like, did you change any of your habits? I mean, you just said no, don't, but like, do you have a specific, while I'm studying, I have this lifestyle, while I'm not studying, I have a different one?
Major was blacking out the social life. Yeah, and it's okay to actually block that side of your life, not completely, but most of it. Although this might sound very in a negative sense, but it should help. It should help to completely focus without any distractions. So that was one major change, and uh, other than that, I being a little more uh, disciplined towards your actual meals and your sleep schedule is gets a little more important when you're studying and when you're about to take an exam, which might not as affect you when you're just working normally 40 hours. So yep, that were my more basic changes.
All right. Thank you.
When hearing like to turn off the social life, like I would turn off social media, but social
Mhm.
life, no, for me it would be, and I then tried it with like level 2, or like this was the one that was the most difficult for me. And you have to be able to assess yourself. Like if you're really like extrovert and social person, actually it can turn against you, because then you can get like burnout and get maybe into some depressions from that and so on. So maybe you have to decrease it. Definitely alcohol is no go when you are studying, but still, like I would say, meet with people that you are not really for a few weeks or months, just like off. But yeah, everyone is different, so everyone needs to assess themselves. um, what I did, like I'm like a lot like a sport person, and I found out it's not every sport can like really clear your mind. So I started to do sports that I knew that I cannot think about anything else during this sport other than actually doing that. Because yeah, like for example, I was doing horse riding, and I knew that if I'm thinking about the CFA while being on horse, I can actually die, right? So like something can go wrong, I don't focus or whatever. So doing actually the sport that can really turn off your mind. And one special thing that I did when changing my routine was like depending when I had exam. I don't know if in every location you can choose between the morning and the afternoon. Sometimes you don't have the choice, and there are people who are morning people, there are people who are actually afternoon people, right? And if you have possibility to do the exam only in the morning, but you are not morning person, this can be very difficult. And this was the case for me. So what I did really the weeks before, I was changing really my routine when it comes to the sleep, so that every day I would like slowly like waking up closer really to the time when I would need to wake up on the exam date, so to be fresh actually on the exam date. And that helped me a lot actually. Yeah.
All right.
So the thing I changed was I kind of like I have favorite topics that I really enjoy reading. So I actually like some of the topics in CFA I enjoy reading. So this time for CFA level 3, I kind of like forbid myself to spend time on the topics I already know. And then like for example, my exposure maybe to some part of fixed income was lower relative to the other topics. So instead of the topics that I really enjoyed, I try to really force myself to read those more boring, reading sections. And the other thing that really helped me, before I was kind of more like, I'm just gonna read this entire thing and then do maybe tomorrow I would do the back of the chapter, end of the chapter questions. So this time, because I was, rushed and like I didn't have time. So, you're driving. If you, I had that third party thing. So I was listening to some of the, um, reading sections, or I was watching a video while I was doing some chores at home. So a variety of learning strategies also worked for me that I didn't really try, because I did my level 1 and 2 maybe 2014 2015. So um, I guess I wasn't used to like listening to podcasts and stuff. So, but like this time around, it kind of really worked for me, especially like when you're reviewing, listening to somebody maybe going over these big readings in, let's say, 45 minutes to just like summarize maybe like a whole book. It's quite helpful. So that really helped me. The strategy I didn't really use before.
All right. Was there anything that you know, would not recommend whatsoever? I mean, we've heard already, find the strategy that works for you, but is there something that you tried and that you absolutely did not work out?
I will not go first on this list.
For me, it was just listening the podcast, because just so very easily you can just lose the focus when you are just listening something. But everyone is different. Maybe someone can better like imagine things when listening. For me, this was no go. And I thought like, because it sounds very easy, right? You can drive a car and in between like learn, right? Like just listening some podcasts, but very often I found out like in the middle of some podcast that actually last 10 minutes I was not listening. So this wouldn't work for me for sure.
So you're saying no, don't CFA and drive.
Yes. Yeah.
One thing that didn't work for me, which I caught of initially when I started studying, was to go into the rabbit hole of any concept, just to try to understand. But then you would probably just like keep going and digging into that concept without actually understanding its application on one of the CFA questions, on one of the exam questions. So that was the one thing that I couldn't that didn't work for me. Of course, some people might read through the CFA Institute curriculum in great detail, and actually it might work for them. But when I tried that, it didn't work out for me when I tried to just dig and dig into a particular concept without understanding its application. Hmm.
I guess something like it. I tried sometimes and it didn't work. If you directly go to, let's say, chapters or a reading section questions and without reading the material, and then like trying to see like, okay, what I don't know and go back, this didn't really work for me. So like, I would just like, even if your time is limited, I would give it a try. Like, and then look at the questions. If you have no, because like I guess CFA, the way it is and how we know is like you have to know the material. It's not about like your general knowledge of finance. So you have to know the exact material to be able to answer the question. So I would say like it's not a good strategy to do it backwards. First see the question, see what they are about, and then do the reading. So that would be my take on
Well, thank you very, very much. So, of course, level 3, the big scare is the constructive response questions, right? Um, so you start us off with the question, obviously the constructive response questions require more time than just like, multiple choice, especially if you don't know. It's harder to just blindly guess on a constructive response question. So that, of course, introduces the issue of maybe running out of time, or those type of questions being very time intensive. So what kind of time management techniques worked for you to maximize the points of the constructive response questions, but at the same time not let them eat into the entire time, so you don't have any time for the multiple choice questions?
Just focus on.
So
Oh, I'm sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I would recommend just really focus on comments, because these are very clear. They are even highlighted there. So, and I don't know if this is still there, but I would think yes, in the learning ecosystem, I remember that CFA was even providing like the list of the comments that they use, and with explanation, what is the expectation, plus some examples. So this is gold. This is very good, because when you are on the exam, you don't want to waste time by thinking like if discuss mean actually one word or two words or something like. Yeah, so this is very good. When they ask to give two examples, you give two, not three. Yeah, just, and only bullet points, that's perfectly enough, not writing there like long explanations. This helped a lot. This is helping a lot, I think.
Yeah, I guess same thing. So like just focus on what the action verb is. It's very important, like what is the verb? Like, like just is it justify, or is it providing examples? And like so personal experience, I guess I can say this, like the morning session is very difficult. Okay. And it's considerably more difficult than the afternoon session, for example, for my exam. And your strategy should be, okay, I have to pass this test. I don't need to write a beautiful essay. Okay. So just watch out your time. I would like first just like, for example, the type of questions or the topic that you have, try to see are there easier questions that I can knock out first, and then like I would come back to this essay question, and then once I'm writing the essay, I'm really looking for the time. And some of them it's gonna take more time than the other ones. So find the ones that are shorter. And again, like the lengthier it is, it's not going to you're not gonna get a higher score. Just see what the question exactly wants. But I also kind of like as far as I remember, I tried to, even some questions that I didn't know, I didn't try to like just fill it completely blank. So like, I mean, I didn't left it completely blank. So I tried something, and so also not getting disappointed, in the morning session is important, because there is a afternoon session that may change things around.
Yeah, this is actually important point, like not leaving blank. There are not minus points, right? So just you cannot go wrong when you try. So every time, just even though you are not sure, better write it. Better something than nothing.
Yes. So yeah, great points, and I used almost all of this while taking this exam. So first of all, when because during the exam, due to heavy pressure and on an additional pressure of these constructive responses, one trick that I used was, as soon as the exam started, on the scratch paper, I used to just brain dump all the formulas which I thought I might not remember. So just like note down the Taylor rule, note down the Kroner model, whatever formulas you think or whatever concepts you think it might evaporate during the course of the exam. Just brain dump into the scratch paper. And yeah, as previously mentioned, don't write big essays. Bullet points are encouraged. Specify the problem. Be very specific. Try to identify, justify, and that's it. Uh, we also practice, because you'll be doing it on a computer. Practice how you would actually type in equations if you need to, and that might be for paper exams, it used to be easy, but for computer exams, you might have to type that. So, and again, as mentioned, don't leave things blank. At least write the formula. You might get partial points for it, probably. So, and be very specific. You're not there to have a conversation, just be very specific to the question asked, and use bullet points, use short sentences, and try to bold things which you want to highlight. And the last thing I would say is for constructive responses is just think of an angry and a tired person grading your paper. That would just help you. Like a tired person doesn't want to like get lost in the maze and look for the answer or search for the answer. Make it easy for him or her. So yeah, do that.
That's a great visual to have. So
I love the point with the formulas, because what I did, like I had like few formulas that I knew that I tend to confuse sometimes, and I would check them like the closest to going into the room, and then when the exam started, writing on the paper, so that when the question arises, that I'm not under the pressure where I can actually confuse it. So this helped me as well. Mm-hmm.
So one of the other issues, of course, with the constructive response questions is that you don't know for 100% sure whether it's right or wrong, right? With a multiple choice question, you know it's right or wrong, and they're like, okay, I missed that one. Why did I miss it? Okay. But for the constructive response question, it's much harder to check yourself when in your preparation, right? So do you have any tips for self-grading your practice problems?
I think when you are doing these mock exams, and when you are really reviewing it precisely, you actually see the patterns, what the institute wants to read. So it never will be 100%. We know we don't actually receive after the exam. We don't know until today, right, what was actually exactly wrong and what right. But when doing these mock exams, I think you can see there the patterns, what the expectations are. So I think this can be helpful.
Is that everybody's opinion, or does anybody have something to add?
I agree with Michaela. So I think the grading, it's not that important. I guess just like the review process, when you just like go and see what their answers are, you learn a lot from that. So that actually worked for me. So like you read something, and then you do the question, right or wrong. Let's see what they have. And like I mean, I'm kind of person, for me it's very easy to skip that review process, but I really force myself to like read those, and it's really, I guess, a reinforcement. um it helped me great.
So, I'd say, as mentioned, look for patterns. Like if you practice enough, you will understand and you will be able to recognize those patterns. And the CFA questions are exam questions are pretty specific. For when it comes to constructive responses, they are very specific as to what they want you to do, be it just calculate, or be it to justify, or be it to compare. It would be specifically mentioned in the question, and as you practice and practice, you'll be able to understand the question and answer connection, basically.
Okay. I would add that what helped me was getting away from trying to do well on the constructive response questions, because you're in that, oh, I need to hit whatever percentage you set for yourself, right? And that works with multiple choice questions, especially after you've gone through level 2. That's out of the window. But especially for the constructive response questions, I try to not focus on would I get this right or not, but like actually understand what the question was getting at the beginning, at least, because that helped me be much more open to whatever the best response was. Of course, the best response is, eons too long, because it's pages and pages and pages, far too long for during the exam. But still, that helped me approach this with a more open mind, I guess. So yeah, the reminder to participants to drop your questions in the chat, like some participants have already done, and we've already answered some of those questions. As we were waiting for another question or two to come in, or for other questions to come in, is there? You mentioned, your social life. Did it ever recover, or are your friends lost forever?
No. It did recover. So, don't want to get too serious here, but those friends would be there for you at the end of the journey to have a drink with you. So yeah, and that's my personal thing, that I do get distracted by social life, and at that point, when I was studying, at that point, I just moved from Massachusetts to California. So it was all new to me, and there were already many distractions. So I had to uh, keep a stop at some point. So yeah, it recovered all well, and yeah. Yes.
Well, actually, the social life is also like getting better after completing CFA, right? Because you get into the CFA community, so you have more opportunities than to socialize. So, but exactly as Vatal mentioned, like your friends will be there after, so no need to worry.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Okay, so you all mentioned that in some shape or form you were using third-party providers. Any recommendations? Which ones did you use? Which one did you find most useful? Because not every provider that you use is actually going to be pan out well.
So, for me, I used Mark Meldrum, and this was my first time I used his material. Like, I previously used Kaplan, Schweitzer notes, and it worked perfectly for me. Like level 1, level 2, I didn't read the CFA curriculum. I just used their notes, their textbook, I guess. But CFA level 3, I was reading the CFA curriculum, and I was short in time, and then I went to Mark Meldrum. He has like these also like videos, type of review videos, and like longer reviews, longer videos that go through the reading sessions. That was very helpful for me, especially like some of the readings I could like just entirely rely on that and don't read the curriculum for the topics that I was way more familiar with. So that's really worked for me. But level 3, I didn't try Kaplan, so I don't know. And one more thing I want to say, just for the test, is also important to try to sit however many hours the test is, get used to like sitting that long. Like, because you can do the mock, like morning session alone and then afternoon alone, but like just you need to build that stamina to like work those many hours during the test.
Yeah, I completely agree with Mo, especially on the last point where we need to incorporate that habit of being at one place uh, for 2.5 hours at least. And especially in this generation of where everyone has very short attention spans, it's very difficult to maintain that focus for this long. And coming to the question of third-party providers, I used specifically I used Schweitzer Notes, and I used Schweizer's secret sauce, which was very helpful in the last 2 weeks of the preparation. And also to get good summaries, I used IFT's high yield notes, and uh, and of course the curriculum end of chapter and blue box questions. Those make those questions your playground, because that's the most closest to the type of questions you might see in the exam.
I actually didn't use any third-party provider. I found a learning ecosystem platform of CFA very useful, very good for the questions, for the practicing. I did my own bullet points. I even found it. I have it here next to me. So really just quick words without verbs at all. So this was my secret sauce that I was wearing with me every time, everywhere. When I got stressed that I don't know, that I'm late with something, that I just could take a look and okay, I know this is okay, and things like that. So yeah, as I said, like I think this platform for this CFA learning ecosystem is actually very good. So I didn't have a need to use third party.
Good. All right. I mean, more power to you. I personally, I was using the Kaplan-Schweizer basic package, and it was helpful. And I would say the summaries were helpful. I only used them after I've gone through the curriculum. But I would say the biggest impact it had for me was that their exam simulation environment is really, really good, and their instructions, because we had that question earlier, their instructions on how to self-grade are really to the point and really good as well. And I don't know if I actually was more prepared, but I felt more prepared, which at the end helped me be more confident in the exam. So, how many hours would you say have you overall studied for level 3? More or less than level 2, or one, or about the same, or less maybe? Who knows?
So life circumstances for me, I wasn't really prepared for level 3 as much as I was, let's say, prepared for level 2 and 1. So I think level 1 and 2, I either did 300 or maybe a little bit above 300. For level 3, of course, it was like about maybe 200 hours or less, because I didn't just simply didn't have the time. But if you're strategic about it, and if it's like if you do it in a period that's like close to exam, if your schedule kind of allows you to like do a lot of hours close to exam, that's also, I find it's very helpful. So you kind of like do your final reviews, but like you put many hours during those last 2 weeks. That's super helpful. Also, Michaela was saying the she had her bullet points and stuff. So the habit of note taking and having like a notebook for yourself, like however many pages it is, it's very useful. I learn a lot by just like writing down these formulas many times, or like so some of these like swaps, like it's not like very intuitive. Maybe it doesn't come to you in the first time. So that's my take on it.
Let's say, yeah, agreed on all these points. I would say I'd put around 250 approximately, between 240 250 hours for level 3, and it was relatively lower than what I put for level 2 or level 1. And again, as Mo mentioned, we have to be strategic as to what points are we hitting, looking at the topic weights, at the curriculum weights, and actually studying accordingly for those topics helped. So yeah, approximately 250-ish, I'd say.
I honestly don't know. I was never really counting it. I know it was less than level 2, because I really found the level 2 the most important, like going like very deeply into everything. With level 3, I definitely remember that when I started to read the concepts, I felt like, but this I know already, like this is actually repetition from the previous ones. And only then when starting to do so I thought that I don't need really that much time. And only then I realized that sometimes you can just underestimate it. You know something, but you don't know how to express it. So that's what I was saying before, that just practicing, actually putting your knowledge clearly into these responses was the key. So it just simply felt different. Like it's different when talking about studying, like when actually reading and lots of repetitions and active recalls and so on, how it was with level 2, and then studying in terms of just practicing. For me, it felt different. And but I don't know about the hours, but it was a bit less than for level 2.
Did you at any point ever feel ready? And if so, what made you feel ready? Or did you just, run out of time? Oh, my exam starts in an hour. I better get going.
Yeah, I felt ready in the middle break between the exam. I'm just kidding. So it's a difficult feel to get when you're studying, because the more you study, the more you practice, you probably realize, oh, you might have missed that small topic, or you might have skipped a few topics. So the more you go into it, the more you feel there are many more topics that you can cover. So, but you have to like calibrate and gauge yourself based on your practice exams, on your mocks, and how well you're scoring, and whether you're scoring enough on the high weightage topics. That would really help make you feel at least confident, if not ready, to go and tackle the exam. And going back to the previous points that Mikhail and Mo mentioned about taking points and making notes, that's super important. And when you're making this note, I made a two pager for the entire curriculum to just read 15 minutes before the exam, and to read between the breaks, between the exam during the break. And when you prepare those notes, and when you're able to like encompass the whole curriculum into 2 or 3 pages, you'll get that confidence as to whether you're understanding those huge concepts and able to put it down simply.
Exactly, I agree.
Mhm.
So I to answer the question, I didn't really feel prepared. It was just more like, I'm going to try, and if I can't pass, that's okay, but I want to give it my best. So that kind of like, I guess, way of approaching it also reduce your stress. So like I guess, for my kind of personality, you are never ready. You don't feel like completely prepared until after the test or during the break. So like, yeah, I never kind of experienced that kind of feel.
Yeah. I agree. I don't recall that I ever felt ready. But one thing that I was always focusing on was with these questions in the learning ecosystem, to have the target, which gave me confidence. So for each topic, like to have some target. When I was like above this target, I was like, okay, I can jump into a different topic and so on. So this is important because you know that if you do set of the questions for one topic, only 50% is right, probably you need to study still more, right? So just set yourself the target you want. Doesn't need to be 100%. It needs to be just that you know that you pass it plus some points, because you cannot underestimate the pressure that is then on the exam date, and that can increase your confidence.
All right. Thank you very much. Are there any last minute questions from the audience? We have time for about 1 to 2 short questions. It does not appear that way. So I would also like to add that level 3, by that time you're there, and I mean, you probably are there, right? So the burnout is real, and it can be a struggle to motivate yourself to get to studying again. But at the same time, what has helped me going forward or moving forward is realizing that a lot of other people would, do anything to be in the situation to be studying for level 3. Plus, ideally, it's just that one more time, right? So yeah, thank you all very, very much for sharing your experiences. Thank you to all the participants, and it will be sending out the recording very soon. Thank you all, and enjoy the rest of your studying and the rest of your day or night, wherever you are.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
having me.
you. Have a good rest of the day. Bye bye.
All the best. Thanks. Bye.